If Jin's refining fire was pure joy, Taka's awakening fire was thunder. And it was the thunder I needed to wake up my will. Not the idea of will, but the spirit in action, piercing through limitations like lightning strike. This video trilogy is about Taka from One Ok Rock, as well as my trip to Japan, resulting from his impact on me. Because the transformation I experienced with BTS's Jin's concert could only take me to another level because of Taka, rebellious, embodied, dignified fire, which had already cleared the ground for me in the previous years.
これは世の中がどんだけ成長してテクノロジーが成長しても絶対になくならないものだと僕は信じてるし、今僕がこうやって日本語で喋ってるのもいつの日かきっとテクノロジーが進化したらその場で僕の言ってることが分かるようになるかもしれない。でもあえて今日はこれ日本語で言わせてください。あなたたちを愛してます。This is a very, very strong connection, you know what I mean? Even like a fucking growing up Teddy Ozzy in this world, this connection is the most strong connection. People to the people, face to face. This is the most important. Don't forget about that, okay? Give it up for him. Name is Dante.
This was not just a concert. It was a reckoning, a night where the fire in Taka's voice and music pulled truths out of me I had never dared to hear before.
Gotta look for my home, but if it cries, is there anyone listening? What if we got a generation? We want our own conversation. Follow me on this road. You know we gotta let go. For all of the times that they say it's impossible. They build their earth as the wars of the obstacles. While we together, you know we're unstoppable now.
For all of the times that they said it's impossible, they built the hurdles, the walls, and the obstacles. Listening to this made me pay attention, like really pay attention to which voices I had been listening throughout my life. And I realized it was not my own voice. It had been the voices of others, layered over me until I no longer recognized myself. Until I felt cornered into a dead-end road built from other people's convictions. But here, during this concert, I could finally just observe that this identification, which makes their voices crumble, and I could finally hear my own. I'm not afraid to tear it down and build it up again. This is what I am going to do from now on. Correct the mistakes I made that led to this life situation and start my life anew. That's what I was thinking while listening to this song. It was as if the music silenced me, and in that silence I could hear the thunder in me. A storm I had carried, but never unleashed, nor was I free from. The fear of not corresponding, of not being enough, of never fitting in, it all vanished. What rose in its place was not blind rage, but righteous anger. The kind of anger that clears chains from your wrists, that shakes off every leash you never noticed you had submitted to. And that night, I stopped being polite in my own self-inflicted captivity.
We may be underestimated, but I know one day we will make We are young and we're proud. So we go running through the glass on the night.
They've been holding us down. They've been telling us to change our voices. We may be underestimated, but I know one day we will make it. And this infused me with courage. The courage to detach, to discern, to no longer stay in the familiar boat and lake that promised protection in exchange for my freedom. I started making choices that triggered reactions in many of those I then considered friends. They told me I was blind, I was in danger. But even if I could not see the new path ahead, I knew such reactions were indicators I am finally moving forward, and let the path appear with every step I took. I had to fight for what I loved, and first I had to find out what I truly loved. They might call me crazy for saying I'll fight until there is no more. Blinded, I can't see the end, so where do I begin? I recognize the turmoil of uprooting myself from the familiar into the completely unknown. It was terrifying, unreasonable, almost absurd at times. Standing up meant daring to listen to what I had kept trying to silence inside me. It was a battle in my head over how dare I even think of moving on from something that was considered the only solution by everyone around me. But I recognized that also that was not my own voice, nor decision.
Quiero mais caro mai kawaranai. Wakaranai mama zettai waranai. We'll never be as young as we are now. You say it's alright. You say it's okay. It's up to you. Is that the truth? Tell me. I'm feeling used when no one said me. You say it's alright. Does that make it okay? What's best for you is less for me. It's my decision.
I'm feeling used, with no one to save me. You say it's all right. Does that make it okay? I could look at the split I was living in directly, always between me and them, always feeling used and then abandoned when they no longer needed me, or if I dared to oppose what they wanted. It was as if the script of my life had been written for someone else's benefit. And that night, I made a decision to take responsibility for my life, for the good and the bad, for the success and the failure. and to no longer be trapped in the gap between my truth and their expectations. The they had changed over the years anyway, because people come and go in our lives. The only constant was me, and that feeling of being used and then abandoned when no longer needed anymore, which now I refuse to carry any longer. I knew I could form a new belief, a better belief. How come I never before believed it was all up to me? That staying stuck and falling or moving forward was not bound by society, community, or tradition, but decided by moment by how I choose to live my life. After 20 years of deep spiritual knowledge and applied in practice, sacrificing my best years I believed at the time that it was the best. Still, this truth hit me like lightning. Save yourself. No one else can, nor should they. Never tell yourself you should be someone else. Stand up tall and say, I'm not afraid. I felt a wave of gratitude in that moment. Gratitude to God and to all the people and circumstances that had brought Taka and One Ok Rock into this world, in this 3D world. The timing was perfect for me to find them. Finally ready to hear, finally ready to recognize this truth in myself. Fear and courage are not opposites. They live side by side. It is up to me, up to each one of us, which one we choose to stand with. Choosing one does not delete the other, but it shapes the way we live our lives, the way we look at our lives, the way we walk through our lives, the way we explore and experience everything.
It's been a ride, fighting through life, hard to come by some kindness, trying to hide all that's inside, making walls of your silence, and I know there's something going on, though you don't ever let me in. I'll give you all my soul just for you to know. Your tears are mine, and it's a new world tonight. Say my name and I will fly over to you, burning for time. I promise you that it will be alright. Just please hold on. I'd like to love you love your stars will shine. When it feels too painful, I smash my broken heart of gold. I smash my broken heart of gold. I smash my broken heart of gold.
I had an eye-to-eye encounter with Taka before that concert. Actually, I went to London to this concert with this clear intention. I wanted eye contact. Well, a hug would have been ideal, but at the time, I had some mental limitations that blocked that from happening. Anyhow, I wanted a brief but real, close encounter, connection with him. And that is because I know how I live in this world, and I know how I absorb universal qualities through even the subtlest interaction with those that I admire. We arrived at the venue around 2 o'clock, only to walk away immediately. We chose exploring the neighborhood over queuing. I have kept this for 20 years as a token that I would one day return to London. I had lived for 2 years here and regretted moving to Denmark, hoping for a return until things unfolded over the years so that it was no longer a longing for something beautiful I left behind. And when the longing dissolved, here I am, back to London with a feeling this trip and concert marked the dawn of a new beginning for my life. Chris, one of my coaches, who slowly became something more like a friend, had unexpectedly joined me for this trip because she wanted to get to know me better. I welcome her initiative with gratitude. She's a spiritually gifted soul, and having her there felt aligned. I had planned to come alone as I was in a transition period, and then the people I knew back then would have been repelled by the idea that I was listening to Japanese rock music and find God in it. But Chris was new in my life, and I was all about the rhythm. And her company gave my experience a deeper meaning, a beautiful harmony. On our way back, as it was getting closer to the time when doors would open, I turned to her and said, when we get back there, I have a feeling Taka will show up. And I want my eye contact, subtle moment with him. So I will not film or care about my phone at that point. I would really appreciate it if you could catch that moment. She smiled and she said, yes. As soon as we arrived, there comes Taka and Toru and a few of his staff members. I instantly logged into some form of invisible layer where I knew I could connect to his soul. Chris was totally caught off guard. I heard her literally screaming at me. Is that Taka? Is this them? Why aren't you filming them? I had to increase my focus, my mental focus, turn down her voice volume in my head until she realized what I had just told her like 10 minutes earlier. In the meantime, Taka passed by, like an arm's length distance from me. And we did have this eye contact, close encounter that I really wanted to have. We had that connection. Maybe a second, but it happened. His black eyes radiated a fire I have never experienced before. It was different from the fire of spiritual aspiration that I was used to. This was a fire fully plugged into 3D world, grounded, vivid, with a spark blending determination, direction, and control. It was so unfamiliar, and even more so magnetic and empowering. it transferred into me diligence, dignity, respect, expansion, control, immediacy. I finally could sense directly, not mentally process, but sense the nature of the spirit that enlivens Taka. I followed him across the street and stopped in front of a Tesco nearby without entering inside. Chris was telling, I'm sure they're inside. They probably came out to get some noodles. Of course, I was half in a trance, half present. And in that state, I could be receptive, but I could not make decisions properly. And because of my limiting belief, convinced that he would not possibly just go to Tesco to buy noodles like half an hour before his concert, I missed the hug. Should have entered the Tesco and get the hug because he was there. And I knew he would not say no to a hug because it's Taka. Anyhow, we went back to the crowd. I was impressed by the reverence of the fans who simply greeted him with respect. No one rushed at him, there were no bodyguards. It was simply Taka and Toru, two beloved and admired artists, and a few of their staff members respectfully greeting them. Chris felt guilty for not catching my eye contact, my first eye contact moment. So as he was coming back, passing by me again, then we had a second eye contact. So she managed to catch this moment. And it's the only one that I've got from that encounter. But I'm double satisfied because my intention and visualization were manifested fully, exactly as I did, not more, not less. Giving me also the lesson next time, more, because I really want the hug. Anyhow, the tension of the energetic field that he radiated as he was passing by relaxed, but he radiated an intensity and a control over this force which really impressed me. It opened new layers of evolution and expansion for my Western Scandinavian trained mind, merged with my Romanian warm heart. It was obvious a cultural and a resonance difference from this strong Japanese spirit I wanted more of. I was silent for a while after this encounter, processing as much as my consciousness could process at the time, while letting my subconscious be impressed deeper. My consciousness would decode more of this encounter through my dreams. The meaning that I had given to this moment required some longer processing time, over the next weeks or months maybe. The highlight of this evening remains the double eye contact with Taka and what that triggered in me. Beyond the excitement of the show, which I wish had lasted longer, it was precisely 90 minutes. I really wish it was longer. Anyhow, meeting Taka in London was significant, relevant for me, marking a closure to 20 years of longing and the beginning of a new life, a true life, my true life. It left me hunger for more, and it set me on a path that would take me for the first time in my life to Japan. But before I tell you about that, in the next video I will share how I first discovered Taka, a synchronicity that unfolded into this life-changing transformation.